Hey, what's good, y'all? This the Wagga Bar for Black Authentic Truth, back in full effect. I was not, I wasn't able to make it, y'all, last week. You know, things come up, life happens, and I was not able to go live, but I'm back in full effect. Today, I got a few things we can go over, a few things that I wanted to go over, right? We definitely going to go over them, but talk a little bit about, I'm going to start off with a little bit about domestic violence, particularly in the Black community. Okay. We'll get into a Black and brown story. We'll get into what is always a topic is how sisters or young ladies dress. And Jerry Jones and Jamie Foxx. Jerry Jones and Jamie Foxx. Well, Jamie Foxx was live. I got a snippet from Shannon Sharp and Ocho Cinco's show where they talk about it. And not really long, but I just want to delve into that. And then we'll talk about the recent story about C-sections. Okay, about Black women going under the knife when pregnant, being pressured to have a C-section. And then I'll go into some history of the book is called Medical Apartheid, and just how Black people have been treated since the time of slavery by physicians and doctors, and how we are looked at as experimental bodies. Okay. So as I get into that, well, before I get into anything, excuse me, how is everyone doing? How's everybody doing on this Sunday? Once again, we already know Sunday is a recharge day for people that got a typical 9 to 5 or a regular Monday to Friday schedule. So Sunday is like that day when you get things prepared, when you chillaxing, you relaxing, you might be watching a game, doing something that's real chill, trying to rejuvenate and prepare your mind for slavery tomorrow. Prepare your prepare your mind for dealing with those co-workers. Prepare your mind for dealing with that damn manager or that supervisor, or just trying to start your week fresh and start it on a good note. Today, I had to go handle some business, and when I was driving on the freeway, I was just like, man, it is a beautiful, nice day today. It was a excellent, perfect day today. in Southern California. I mean, the air, the breeze, the clear skies, because we right by LA, so you get that you had that overcast sometimes. You can see the mountains. The weather's just good. Just a time like if you have the ability to, you could just go to the beach, go to the park, what I mean, do something with your family and just chill. It was a really, or should I say it's still daytime. It's a really nice day today. Really nice day where I'm at. You know what I mean? And I can always appreciate that. But yeah, so I guess I'll get into it. I just want to start off by talking about domestic violence. Now, when it comes to domestic violence, we are not strangers to domestic violence in the Black and Latino community. Like when you look at what how our families are, and you look at the dysfunction in our families, this is just something that's an everyday norm, but it's not normal, right? And many of us have seen it or we experienced it. Maybe we were the perpetrators, maybe we were the victims, but are we seen it as a child? We've seen abuse, we've seen domestic violence, and it is something that is not okay. But it is something that, just like molestation, that gets overlooked when it comes to the Black community. And Black women suffer at a higher rate, more than any other women, from domestic violence and death from domestic violence relationships. So at the end of the day, and I don't want to just make this one-sided, but as a man, you should not, if you feel like you have to put your hands on a woman, then you should get out of that situation. If you feel like you're in a situation where a woman is driving you crazy to the point where you have to put your hands on her, just leave her. If you're somebody that cannot control your emotions, if you're somebody that feels like how you deal with your problems is to use your hands, then maybe you shouldn't be with that person, and maybe you should get more help. Maybe there's something else festering inside of you where you need to look at. You need to look in the mirror and look at yourself, because we can't throw this thing on frustration. The only time I see fit for a man to actually like put his hands on a woman is if he's like literally trying to defend himself. Like if a woman is like beating the hell out of you and you just sitting there letting her pummel you and punch you in the face, that's one thing. But if you're just arguing and it's just words, or you just have a disagreement, or you don't see eye to eye, there is no reason to put your goddamn hands on a woman. There is no excuse. You understand? At all. There's no excuse at all to do that. You know what I mean? There's tools and there's different things that you can do to get out of that situation, so you don't find yourself uh 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 locked up with a domestic violence charge, which looks horrible, because I, for one, have been locked up, and you get no respect for coming up in there. And they say, man, what you up in here for? Man, I put my hands on my girl. You don't get no respect for that. You ain't gonna get no brownie points for that. I suggest you hide that paperwork. You try to hide your paperwork. But Lord forbid, I don't want that to happen to anyone. I don't want brothers and sisters. I don't want nobody to go to jail for domestic violence. I don't want nobody to put their hands on anyone. If you're even if it's the other way around, if you're in a situation where you're with this woman and you love her and she always pops you upside your head, or like a disagreement turns physical, she's probably not the right woman for you. Sorry to tell you that. And for you sisters, that's the same for you. Now, let me be who I really am, the Wagga Bar. Okay? Let me just say this. We all make mistakes. Okay? But making the same mistake over and over again, that's a problem. That's an issue that needs to be dealt with. So the moral of the story is keep your damn hands to yourself. Okay? There's other ways, and I know we don't get that in the Black community, but there are other ways to what's the word I'm looking for? To deal, that's not the word I was looking for, but to deal with whatever the frustration is that leads you to feel that way. Maybe you were a child that seen it yourself. Maybe you were a child that grew up in a dysfunctional home like many Black people have. And many Black people have went on to be successful people, make good choices, and stay away out of trouble and not make bad decisions, even though they grew up in the hood, even though when you walked outside, you seen a dead body, even though you grew up in a crack house. Many brothers and sisters still were able to elevate themselves and put themselves in a good position to not get in trouble like that anymore, or not find themselves in that domestic violence type situation. You know, and the flip side to that, this is the flip side, and this is biblical. And since I'm paraphrasing, I'm not going to say the scripture, but this is biblical. A wicked man ends up with a wicked woman. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of times what happens is you have situations in relationships where people, I'm a little hot. I done had a little drink, y'all. You have situations where people, you know, they're not getting along in a relationship, and he's saying, man, she like this, man, I can't be with her, man, she do this all the time, blah, 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 to his friends, his family. She's saying the same thing to her friends and her family, pointing out all the negative traits about him. In reality, they are together because they're just like one another. In reality, they hard-headed. They don't want to listen to nobody. They don't want to take constructive criticism. Can't nobody tell them anything. They think they're always right. And then so these type of people typically end up together. So you're only hearing one side, but you don't know what the other person done to them. And you'll find out that they're both monsters. They're both raging animals in the house, can't get along because they're so alike. Hey. But anyway, that's the domestic violence thing. Now I want to get to I'm gonna get this video real quick. I got it queued up a different way, so I'm gonna see if this works. I hope it runs smoothly. It's just a way that I don't have to look for the video in my folders anymore. I'm trying to get better and more succinct at this, y'all. So this story, well, we'll watch the story. Let me see.
Learn English. Learn English. Learn English. This ain't your fucking country.
Greg Harris owner yelling.
You need to learn it. Learn English. Learn it. You getting money in America? This isn't you getting money in America. Learn English. I don't give a fuck. Learn it. Learn it. You riding on the roads? Learn English, motherfucker. Talk about that shit. Learn English. Learn English. Learn English. Learn English. This ain't your fucking country. This ain't your fucking country. Learn English. Learn English. This ain't your fucking country. Fuck wrong with you? Fuck wrong with you, boy? You better learn English. Hey, hey. Learn English.
Insultando, no entiendo ni madre lo que me está diciendo. You better get on.
In America, you need to learn.
From the business, Gregorio says he's been working as a delivery driver for 7 months and works to support his daughter who lives in Venezuela. Gregorio says he's now afraid to continue working as a delivery driver, and his family has asked him to come back to Venezuela. News 4 went to Canna Coffee to try and speak with the man seen in the social media video.
But you going to have to introduce yourself to me in a proper way before I talk to you.
Absolutely.
All right, he came out here and told you how you could talk to me.
Absolutely.
But you refused to because you're not man enough to go through the protocol. So you think you could just bum rush my door and I'm supposed to just talk to you just because?
No.
A video?
I knocked on the door.
Shortly after this exchange, News 4 and Telemundo 44 were invited inside the business, but were told we cannot record.
Now, y'all seen that video like I just saw it, and I actually watched it about 2 times before I'm playing it now. Now, in this video, this is an Uber worker the brother from Venezuela, I guess he's picking up. This is the black man's company. I guess he's picking up an order to deliver it. But the video starts off with him saying, learn English, right? Telling him to learn some English. This is not his country. And you know, just all in his face, you know, and but I wanted to speak to the, like, black people got the audacity, right? And let me just pull this up. Something that it's so many things in here that need to be talked about. Black and brown people. What black and brown people don't understand. What black people don't understand, because you have black people that are racist towards Mexicans, towards the Venezuelans. You have Mexicans that are racist towards black people. You understand? And what neither two understand, and I'm not saying it's all people, I'm saying it's some. What neither seem to understand is that we have a similar life up under the oppressive tactics of America and history. Not only that, the lifestyle that you see a lot of people live in the inner cities when it comes to black and brown people is exactly the same. And so it's just crazy that you see black folks, and you can use this interchangeably. You see Mexican folks have the nerve to be racist towards one another. All of that anger and aggression that you use towards one another, like this brother was saying, learn English. Nigga, your ancestors had to learn English. It's just crazy that we are programmed to think like white supremacists now. Learn English. This is not your effing country. Newsflash, I don't know if you recognize, black people are still 3/5 of a human being. Black people still can't even get treated like a citizen in America. But it like y'all gonna hear me say this again. This might become my slogan, but it needs to be studied. Why would we think, how did we take the oppressor's mindset towards other minorities that are just like us? Told the brother to learn. And now, from what my rib told me, what the Venezuelan brother was saying, because he was speaking Spanish, he was saying that he don't know why this brother is so mad. Meanwhile, the brother is talking about learn English. You know what? At my job, there is an app that, because I deal with Asians, I deal with Arabic people, I deal with Russian people. There is an app you can put on your phone, and you can easily make a transaction or talk to some and communicate with somebody. It will translate what you say so they can understand exactly what you're saying. But that's besides the point. And I don't want to lose. I think I done already lost what I was going to say, right? But the thing is that we take on the same mindset towards other minority groups. How crazy is that? Like, we have a slave master attitude towards other people that would be oppressed just like we are in America. And he said, learn, this is not your country. Bruh, I don't know why black people think this is their country too, just because we've been here for some generations. If this is anybody's country, this is Mexican country. This is Native Indian country. You get what I'm saying? If it was anybody, if we want to be real, if we want to just be fair and we want to be righteous, that's who land this really is. But to have the mindset to hate, to have that much anger towards another minority because they don't speak our language. Let me show you something, man. Let me repeat the comments. Right. That's a backwards way of thinking, Tyrell. Let me pull this up real quick. What do I want? We're going to screen share. All right, yeah. Now look at this, right? Let's just take a minute and let that marinate real quick. No dogs, no Negroes, and no Mexicans. These people got treated the same way. And now you have people today, black or brown people, that hate on one another for the same reasons that white supremacists hated on us or still hate on us today. That needs to be studied. You Negroes got a special top of mind to be able to take that and hate on someone when you both were hated together the same way. This one is really funny. Let me get this one. This one is really funny. This one. No N-words, no Mexicans, no Puerto Ricans or dogs allowed. Like, they so mad, they so racist, they couldn't even spell Puerto Ricans right. They didn't fact check or nothing. They didn't fact check or nothing. They just said no Puerto Ricans. But the point, what I was that video was what I was bringing out is like, man, how are you going to take on that mindset as a black person towards Mexicans? Like, you see how they tried to play black people in New York and Chicago against Venezuelan migrants by saying, listen, they're giving them EBT, they're getting money, they're getting public assistance. They're getting $4,000 in EBT. And black people really start to turn and be mad at the migrants instead of being mad at the puppet master, instead of being mad at the person that is making all the plays. Like, these people ain't got no, they don't got no say so in it. And let's just be real. Anybody coming from south of the border, in those countries, those Central America countries, they're coming from destabilized governments. They're coming from governments where there's a lot of corruption, police corruption, government corruption. But guess who created the corruption? You wouldn't believe it if I told you how it all started. RJ, you said no group is hated more than black people. I agree with that. But when you say, remember, we have no allies, let me tell you something, RJ, and I disagree with that. And maybe it's because of where I live at. I grew up in Southern California, Los Angeles County, San Bernardino County. You understand? I grew up in the home of the gangbang. I grew up where black people were, how I grew up is, and I know it's not the same everywhere, but this is how it is. Black and brown people get along, believe it or not. I don't care what's on paper. Street, like prison politics, hood politics is where the line is crossed. You get what I'm saying? Hood politics is where the line is crossed. Like that's where you start to see the racism. That's where I first ever encountered any racism from a Mexican person. Was on some hood shit, excuse my language, but it was on some, and I've never been a banger or nothing like that, but I'm just saying that's where I seen it at. Now, when it comes to how people treat one another, listen, I've been treated the most hospitality, the best hospitality I ever been treated with came from Mexican people, not from black people, not from my own people. If we want to play that thing, like, I'm being perfectly honest, like, they will invite you in their home. They'll drink you under the table. They'll feed you. They're very hospitable. Black people ain't like that to black people. So when somebody tells me that Mexicans hate black people or vice versa. I know that exists. I know. I've seen it. When I was a kid, I wore my dad's jacket. I wasn't supposed to put it on. He had a Lakers, a Mitchell and Ness Lakers away jacket. I put it on late at night outside. I got robbed by a Mexican smoker. I was like 12, 13. I've had guns put in my face by Mexican people. That never changed how I looked at Mexican people as a whole. You know why? Because I've been done worse by black people. I've had guns put in my face. I've been shot at by black people. You know, I could say all of the things that I've experienced from Mexican people, I experienced them on a whole nother level from my own people. And I grew up in black and brown community. You know what I'm saying? So when somebody tells me Mexicans hate black people, you know what my response is? Nigga, black people hate black people. There is nobody that hates black people more than black people. There's nobody that's less unified than black people. There's like that's the reality of our community. And I'm okay with that. I see the realness in it. Now, when people are like, I don't know other communities, because I know there's a big Mexican community in Texas. There's a Mexican community on the East Coast, and there's a Mexican community big in southern states. So I don't know the experience, but right here where we're close to the border, I do know the experience, and I really don't see no difference. But the difference is when you get to the street element, when you get to like gang banging in the street element, that's where I see the lines of prejudice and bigotry and racism rise up. That's where I see it at. I don't see it on everyday life. Like, and I just haven't never experienced it. And I didn't experience good and bad from everybody. But when it comes to black people, I mean, my brothers and sisters take the cake as far as the negative experiences I done had and the people I done lost. So I could say, you know, nobody with a clear mind and a clear conscience, nobody hates black people more than black people. Like now at this point in time, like I know race, y'all know me, y'all know I will go hard on the devil. I'll go hard on everything about them. But at the end of the day, I'm about loving my people. And when you start to really love your people, you have to be real with the condition of your people and see like, damn, we really go harder on each other than anybody. You can go online right now and I guarantee you there's black people dragging some black person because of the way they dress, dragging some black woman because of the way her hair is, dragging somebody because of a birth defect. We got a whole group of people that have become celebrities from being dragged because they have a mental illness or they might be mentally, you know, something is wrong with them. Case in point, Shamar. Case in point, what's the brother name? Guiding. Case in point, anybody that has a deformity now on social media, they'll get dragged, but hey, they get a little bit of 5 minutes of fame, but that is the black community. We laugh. We laugh at somebody that is doing worse than us. We love to see somebody doing worse than us, some controversy about some black person. We love to tear each other down. We love it. It's like part of us. And we laugh at tragedy. We laugh at those things that happen to our own people. And we get upset when somebody else points it out. That's the black community. You understand? That's the black community. That's us. And I'm just being real. Can't nobody come at me because y'all know I love my people. I put in work for my people. Well, I was outside yesterday feeding black and brown people on the streets out of my own pocket. You know what I'm saying? So can't nobody even like if you're gonna come at me, and this is not nothing personal. This is not to the brother, because that RJ rocks with me. This is not nothing about that. But the thing is that if somebody's gonna come at me, you're gonna have to pull receipts of what you do for your people. Cause I'm fully stamped and approved. You know what I'm saying? You said we stick together, right? We stick together here in America, but it's rare compared to other black cultures. Oh yeah. Other black cultures who come here, to me, they're not destroyed like we are. We've been ripped from our identity. We've been ripped from our identity. So we're basically carbon copies of Americans. We're black you know, we're a carbon copy of what we've seen and what was given to us in this society. And so we don't have no fabric of unity, of sticking together. And that's kind of why you see other groups have a family unit and have a nuclear family more than we do, and value that more than we do, because we don't know nothing about it. Because let's just say, coming out of a plantation, coming out of slavery, where most black people came, I know a lot of black people were still here. Most black people came off the plantation, right? And that family unit sometimes would be together, but many times the father would be there. He would be able to love on his woman for some time, and then he'll get ripped away. He gets sold to another plantation, or the children get ripped away. So you have a situation where we come out of that. We come out of a broken home, and then we modeled ourselves after Europeans. And for a time, we did far better than the Europeans did. We during the 20s, during the 30s, when America was falling apart because of the Great Depression, black people actually were more likely to have a two-parent home. So when we were given a chance to actually do it on our own, we started to do it better, and we built, many towns. You had a great rush of black people going to Oklahoma. You had black people moving out to different areas of America toward the Midwest and the West, and, building for themselves. And a lot of these cities and towns, what happened to them, right? They were eventually burnt down for some reason. So, but we displayed and we showed that we could have the perfect family, the two-parent household. We had a time when we had it rocking and rolling, and you were more likely to see us have a two-parent household than white people. Okay. So I got a little bit of something in my tooth, but yeah, I don't want to harp on it too long. I don't want to go too long on that subject, but the point is that, like, we need to see the commonalities. We need to see the same things that we do have in common. We do have in common as far as black and brown people. I'm not going to sit here and say there are no racist Mexicans, because I would not never say that. But there are racist black people too. There are racist black people that hate other black people. There are big-headed Negroes that, get a certain amount of wealth and get a certain amount of success, and they look down on the rest of the predominantly living under the poverty line black people in America. Like, they put their head up to them. Like, I could never. These Negroes could never. That's ghetto. You actually have black people that think that way and look down on their people, and it was like are detested, are disgusted by the just seeing these Negroes. This Negro got on a pair of Jordans. Oh, she dyed her hair pink. Disgusting. I don't look at black people like that. I look at it like we all come from different walks of life. Yeah, we could bring our level up, but all in all, I love my people, right? Now I want to talk about this video. This video is, let me remove this, stop the screen. This video is something that we're familiar with.
Yes, baby, you do need to change.
It took you that long to say something to him? Look, where? I understand my niece too. People tell me when they see her in the street dressed like that and everything, hey, I'm not going home. I'm gonna stay right here till she change clothes. So what is you doing? Cause this is my sister's house, and I can be wherever I want to be. And who gonna put me out?
I will.
You won't. You won't.
Golly.
And where? You're not.
Baby, just go change.
That's her best bet, cause I ain't going nowhere till she change clothes.
Change, baby.
I don't care. Look at her, just everything about to fall off. Don't put some sweatpants and t-shirts on for all I care.
That's boring.
Well, be boring. You need to be boring. You're a mom now. Can't even keep the shirt up on you. It ain't no JoJo. That's the problem now. Go get some of your mama clothes and put on. Go get some of your mama clothes and put on. You trying to get Rihanna nothing? Rihanna pregnant? Rihanna pregnant? Okay, but you not rich like her, so you ain't gonna get all that. How am I? Not going where?
No, you need to, baby, look. Come on.
What is you gonna do? What is you gonna say to her?
No change.
I'm waiting for it.
I'm sick of you.
You not sick of
I'm
me?
sick of you.
Chastise her.
Somebody
That's what you-
chastise you because you trying to.
Yeah. So y'all see that video with this sister. It's the auntie that's off camera, and you see this young sister. I believe, I don't know how old she is. She looked like she could be like between like 13, 14, 15. Her breast is about to fall out. She has a little skirt on, and her mom seems like she's over it all, and she doesn't know how to tell her daughter, you know, go put something else on. Auntie is not having it. Auntie is like, she was about to go into what people say when they see her in public about her niece. I don't know what she was about to say, but I can imagine when she was about to say what people say when she see her. Now, this girl talks about being like Rihanna, and she said, you want to get Rihanna pregnant? You want to be like, are you going to get Rihanna pregnant? You don't got money like Rihanna, but that's the mind of a child. You understand? And also, little girls like this, you can't actually blame them. You got to blame the parent. Now, that's the mother's fault why she's like that. Why she's dressing like that, that has all to do with the woman that is raising her. Now, I don't know where the father is. I don't, you know, obviously he's not in the picture because the auntie is in the picture. She's the voice. And some people will say, well, why does she even care? And that's the mindset of a lot of Black people today. When you talk about issues concerning our people, they say, why do you even care? Like, why won't you just mind your own business? Why does it bother you so much? And I had talked about this before on the video. I believe it had to do with a youngster, but you know, when it comes to what goes on with our people, we all are affected by the actions, or how you raise your children. The community is going to be affected by it. Whether you raise a little 304 or you raise a little thugger monster, somebody else's child is going to come in contact with your child, or maybe might be the victim of your child, or maybe might get your child pregnant, or maybe their child might grow up and hit you upside the head and rob you or snatch your purse. But it's because the way they was raised. So at the end of the day, it's going to affect you. 9 times out of 10, Black people are not hurting other people. They're hurting people that look just like them in their community. They're robbing people that look just like them. I don't remember too many times where I heard the stories where Black youth brothers are going out to a rich neighborhood to go rob it or to do some crime. No, they're going to do something to somebody in the neighborhood that looks like they got something. But the point is how they were raised, how you were raised, and what you turn out to does affect everything in the environment. And so with this, I mean, it is what it is, but like, our young daughters today are being raised this way, and nobody is saying, listen, you're not wearing that. Take that off. How did you even get that? Now the question is, did her mom buy it? It is a little tiny skirt with a top on where her whole chest is out. Now, granted, this is how the women look on those reality TV shows. The women look like this on they whole chest, this whole middle portion of the chest be out. You be wondering, like, from a mechanical standpoint, like how is the outfit even holding up? What is it hanging on to? But this is the reality that we see everywhere, where you have these young children. And then come on, man, how many missing daughters posts have you seen in the last couple of days? I'm telling you, I done seen at least 20 of them. And you're raising girls like this. You're allowing them to dress however they want to dress. And this is part of that sexual revolution. This is a part of that generation where they say, you know, express yourself. You know, You should be able to express yourself. It's crazy, man. What y'all think? What y'all think? That's crazy. Let me see. It's become a chain reaction. No kind of balance today to nourish the lost minds. Devil's not even high no more, right? Used to be more subtle, not anymore. Oh yeah, it used to be more subtle. You couldn't dress like a girl that dressed like that at school. She was doing things with people at school, with the football team and stuff like that. I'm just being real. We all know. But it was now everybody dressed the same. So you don't know who is really who because it's been normalized to be half naked. It's been normalized to be half naked. Kyle Mosbach said the auntie deserves a round of applause for standing up and getting in. You damn right. The auntie does deserve a round of applause for that because she's looking at it and this is the person that actually loves that girl. This is the one that actually loves that girl by telling her how to dress, to take that off. Go put some of your mama clothes on. When I was growing up, you know what they would do with a girl that came to school like that? They'd put a big loner shirt on her. You're not finna be walking around like that. It was a time, and I never knew what it was, but I remember the dress code when I was a kid. It used to be like no tube tops, no bare midriffs. And I used to always wonder, what is a bare midriff? And I found out it's like showing your stomach. Like it was a lot more strict as far as how children should even dress at school. But now society then got so loose, everything is loose. Everybody is loose. And a lot of women who are very gullible see no problem with how you dress. If you're going to show all that skin or not, it's your prerogative. It's what you want to do. But there's a direct correlation between how people treat you and what people think of your intelligence level and how you dress. A direct correlation. If I was to walk into a place with my jeans hanging off my ass, people would have people would look at me a certain kind of way. They would, you can already make assumptions about me that are fair assumptions. The same with a woman that is half dressed, a grown woman. There's grown women that dress like that, but even she's a child, right? But even from her to a grown woman, and I see them, there's already things that I already understand about them that they have communicated to me without saying a word. But as Black parents, once again, goes back to that, we have to do better with raising our children. We have to do better. We have to care about them and not just be caring about our own lives, our personal lives and personal happiness. And you probably want to be friends with your daughter. And so you buy her all the skimpy clothes because she's happy. The minute she gets upset, you're not her friend anymore. And you feel like the worst parent in the world. Bump all of that. Be a parent and not a friend to a kid. For real? Let me see. It says, Baratanawa, they used to sneak clothes out of the house and change, but now these girls don't have no shame or respect for themselves or their families, nor do they care what they say, right? Because you don't have to have no care what nobody say when your mom or your dad left that one out. Your dad is okay with it. There's a lot of brothers like this that are okay with their daughters dressing like this. I remember girls that used to do that. I remember girls coming to school one way, and then next thing you know, they come out the bathroom, they got a different outfit on with some makeup on. But but getting back to your dad, men, there are a lot of men like this too. There's a lot of men that would not care, that don't care, because they don't see anything wrong with a woman being half naked anyway. So if it's their daughter, it's just like, she's not getting in any trouble. She's got good grades. she's this, she's that. You know, she's the valedictorian. Yeah, I know she's, you know, skirt is short. There's some brothers that won't even have no pushback or no nothing when it comes to how they daughters dress. So it ain't just mothers, it's fathers too. And it just goes back to what I just said. You gotta stop caring so much about your personal life and pay attention to your kids. Because these are the type of girls, you know what I'm saying? They're highly influenced. And sometimes it's that auntie, it's that 304 auntie that influence, you know, the nieces to be that way and to dress that way. But this auntie right here, she's like, oh, hell nah. I'm not going nowhere. She seemed like she the big sister or something, because mom seemed like she ain't even trying to hear none of it. She ain't dealing with none of it. But this auntie, she's not having it. She's on that girl's head. And you can tell that girl is, like, when she goes out in the world, she's easily manipulated. She had no comeback. She looked like she was lost when the auntie said, well, you ain't, what you trying to have a baby like Rihanna? You don't got Rihanna money. Like, what are you talking about? And that just shows you how I ain't gonna say delusional, but how young-minded that girl is. But sex sells in America. You know, that's what's pushed on social media. Sex is pushed on social media. You know, I can show you we was at work the other day, and it was me and like 3 brothers, right? And we was both pulling up our Instagram feeds just to see how long before naked women would pop up. It's, you know, it's kind of funny, but that's what we was doing, just to show, like, to see, like, look. And I'm showing them, and I'm like, eventually something will pop up, you know. And we're talking about how there's whole forums and Reddit forums where people are complaining about the fact that they can't go on their social media without seeing half naked women. And you don't have to look at it to see it. It's going to be there. But that is the algorithm that's being pushed to the youth. And if you don't have a strong parents that stand on their 10 toes and tell you, listen, you're not going to dress like this, you're not going to be like that, you're going to carry yourself like this, then your children will be victims to dressing like that and to thinking like that. And maybe even more, Lord forbids, that they be one of those posts. Have you seen my daughter? Right? Yeah, man. Look, Black Rain, it's tiring. Like, I'm not trying to look at ass hanging out all day. That's not my objective. I would like to see some informational, some educational stuff. That sometimes it is some good stuff or some good stories, but in between that, you got to see all of that pop up. And I'm like, they should just make categories. They should just chop. Now it's so bad. Now they should just take social media and make, because I don't know how long y'all heard about Threads. I don't know how long Threads been around, but when I went on Threads, I was like, oh, this is cool. Cause I was just seeing people say things. It's just all people saying like something and people react to it. But then I started seeing the same stuff I see on Instagram, half naked women. And I'm like, they need to just make a thing where all social media sites have the categories. All of the women that want to do that, they're in this category. All of the educational stuff is in this category, right? And you can just choose to see what you want to see. Even if you was to go to something, some category, you can't just see what you want to see. It's going to be other type of topics popping up, but they should dissect it like that and say, listen, this whole category of women, if you want to make content like this, you're in OnlyFans. You're just the type of stuff you do. Like regular people that just want to see different things, nothing sexual, nothing really super violent. This is for them. Anyway, that's just my opinion. Yeah, so I heard, Tyrell, I heard the new cartoons is crazy too. Crazy. So let's see. Let me get to They definitely are trying to condition the youth, especially with throwing in those alternative relationships in those cartoons and in those that, you know, like that Disney programming and that Nickelodeon programming. So let me move this story. So where we gonna go now? Jamie Foxx.
$5, $9.5, $2.10. $5, $9, $2.10. 441. Okay. 9 3-inch hay. 8.5-inch deck.
Hey, what's wrong with Jerry, man? I mean, that's really not the conversation to be having.
No, why am I having? Hold on, why am I having that conversation with another man?
Especially in that environment. I don't know. I don't know what's wrong. I don't know what's wrong with Jerry. I maybe he didn't know Jamie was filming at the time.
I ain't having no conversation. Me and no homeboys, my friends, my best friend Bucket, ain't nobody talking about no. Have mercy.
Now, so what happened is Jamie Foxx was on a live video. He was with Jerry Jones, right, the Dallas, Texas owner, and I'm guessing this is like a tryout or something. I don't know. Somebody can correct me in the comments, but as they're looking at the players, Jerry Jones is naming off, players' measurements. Then he talks about the players' penis size. And Jamie Foxx abruptly stops the live. So that's what Shannon Sharpe and Ocho Cinco were reacting to. Like, why is he having this kind of conversation with another man? Right. And they saying they don't think Jerry Jones knew that Jamie Foxx was live. Here's the thing. This was a couple years ago. I think this was during the time when Colin Kaepernick knelt, when he was kneeling in protest of unarmed black men being killed or abused by law enforcement. And you started to have a wave of NFL players that were kneeling. Well, Jerry Jones said that if any of his players kneel, they're off the team. Like a real slave master. Jerry Jones, not too long ago, let me look what y'all saying. Right. Jerry Jones, not too long ago, I think that might have been a couple of years ago, probably like 2 years ago, maybe. I think it probably was around the George Floyd, maybe a little longer. He said that, a picture came out when he was young, and he was in a crowd of white supremacists confronting, I believe, black people doing a sit-in. You remember black people used to do those sit-ins where they would sit in the restaurants that didn't want to serve them. And, white people would come by and spit on them and pour ketchup on their head and mustard on their head. And black people would just sit there, right? Which something I don't agree with. I would have never done that. I don't want to eat nowhere where people don't even want to serve you anyway. I don't even get the concept of wanting to get food from somebody that doesn't like you. But Jerry Jones was in the picture, right? They brought that out. Like he was a youngster then. And now you hear him talk like this. It's crazy. But it takes you back to the time, they came out with a special that was some time ago with Colin Kaepernick on Netflix. And in that special, it actually gave you a visual of slaves being checked, their measurements, how high they can jump, how fast they can move. Then it goes to the NFL Combine. Oh, it was controversial, y'all. It was crazy. I said, that is so real. It reminded me of the book, $40 Million Slave, which I had the book, but I don't know what happened to it. I had the book. I always talk about the book, but I cannot find it. I wanted to find it to bring out some stuff, but I could not find it. And just if you just think about, if you know the history of our people, what they would do is they would do these things to you. They'll oil you up. They'll walk up to you, open your mouth, have you jump, have you bend down, check your back, check your genitals, inspect everything to make sure you were approved, a good slave that could be a good producer and a good worker. There's a movie called Goodbye, Uncle Tom. It is free on Netflix. It is very graphic for an old movie, but it's also very realistic to give you the real feeling of what it was like when brothers and sisters got off the boat from Africa, from the ships of Africa to the Americas, and how they were treated, how they were examined, all of that. That's what that puts me in the mind of how he talked. He's an owner. And I always felt that's how they look at brothers and sisters that play these sports. Now we look at them like they're great, not me, but people look at them in general like they're great because they're multimillionaires. But these people are billionaires. These people are the people that's cutting the check for them. Black Rain, yes, that movie is wild, very real. It's a wild, wild movie. They have a scene where it's a little white girl running, and all you can see is her first. She's running over the hill in slow motion. Her hair is just flowing, you see it's all green and everything. And then behind her comes a little black boy with a shackle on his neck, and she's holding the other end of the shackle, running with him, and he's just running along with her. It's an image that could bring you to tears to understand what happened to our people. You understand? But getting back to that. Now, Shannon Sharpe and Ocho Cinco, they laughing like, in their conversation is like, why are you talking about things like this to another man? Because I don't believe Jerry Jones was actually talking to Jamie Foxx. He was talking to somebody else, but Jerry Jones is up in age, right? Jamie Foxx is just glad to be there. He's chilling with, that's how our celebrities are, our black celebrities are. They just want to be in all the places where the people that make the big bucks are, right? And so they're talking like, why is he having this conversation with another man? That's the point they're making on the show. But it's like they don't see the big picture. And people like us, like normal people, don't see the big picture either. That this is the slave master slave dynamic that started way back when in the plantation. How they like, these are multimillionaires, but they're still just looked at as workers, as great physical specimens. That's it. They're just looked at as great physical specimens, and they can't even see, because they done made their money from the NFL. They're retired. They done got their fame and their fortune, and they're retired. And just to be fair, Ocho Cinco is known for being really cheap. So I believe it was like 84 million. I can't remember how many millions, but his money, he's known for not spending his money, for taking his wife to their first date to McDonald's, to, saving all of his money from his contract, which is super smart. That's really smart, because the first thing we do is like we buy chains and clothes and cars and all of that. Well, he didn't do none of that. He's like very frugal with his money, but they can't see that in the big picture, they're still in that dynamic. We're still in that dynamic of this. Jerry Jones is just looking at you like you're a specimen. You got, look at your arms. Look at your calf size. Look at his calf size. Look at his private part size. That's how the breakdown is, and brothers cannot see that. And many people will get angry with me for making this comparison, especially white supremacists, because they say, I don't see somebody making millions of dollars like a slave? Well, until they say something. Until they stand on their 10 toes and speak on a real issue, we'll see how much those millions matter. We'll see. Maybe Colin Kaepernick might ring a bell then. We'll see. We'll see. Like when they really say something and stand on it. But that won't really never happen. You know why? Because this is no disrespect to brothers and sisters that done worked hard and made it to those levels. But they are still $40 million slaves. Let me see. He said that scene with them turning out young boy slaves to sodomite. Yes. Yes. I see a lot of people. Man, I see you. You know exactly, Black Rain, what I'm talking about. It's crazy. Crazy. That's right. Joel 3:3. And they have cast lots for my people and have given a boy for a harlot and sold a girl for wine that they might drink. A deep movie, Uncle Tom. Hey, listen, you're going to make me start breaking down scripture for real. And while we speaking on that, y'all can check me out at the Wagga Bar on YouTube, where it's all biblical breakdowns. Like I'm just doing biblical historical breakdowns. My channel, it's not really, I don't have a lot of followers, so I don't know if it'll pop up, but it's the Wagga Bar on YouTube. Now, definitely. Now, this one is a crazy one because this actually happened in history. Black people were sold to the Europeans from Africans for wine and musket guns. Crazy. He said the movie Get Out. Yep. Kanye and Kyrie Irving. Yep. You seen what happened. Kyrie Irving shared a link to a movie. That's it. Didn't say nothing. None of that. Crazy. Who was the lady that told LeBron to shut up and play basketball? Talk. Oh, I think her name is like Ann Coulter. Like Ann Coulter. She looked like she's a real Viking from the Caucasus Mountains. But yeah, said he should shut up. It's either Ann Coulter or it's another lady that's one of those journalists. You know what I'm saying? Break it down. Right. So that's crazy though. Like you can have all the money in the world, but if you get on the wrong person's side, they will freeze your account. They will strip every endorsement you had. Like your life will literally change overnight because they have it in the power in their hands to do so. Like, because, you know, that's just the reality of it. Like, so to say that a person that made their wealth from playing sports isn't likened to a slave, well, you gotta ask yourself, have we seen any examples of that happen before? And we have. We've seen Colin Kaepernick. We've seen Kyrie Irving. We even seen in the entertainment side, we've seen Kanye West, like the brother brought out, Kanye and Kyrie Irving. You know, we've seen this happen before. You know, so that it to where you don't even have a voice. You are a multi-millionaire, but you don't even have a voice no more. Like they just shut you down. Like anybody that puts you on, they will you know, take their channels down. Like Kanye West was on what's her name? What's her name? What's the girl name? Candace Owens. You know what I'm saying? Like they will shut down you and anybody that deals with you. They'll put a whole embargo on you. Sanction. You're right. You're right. That's true. This is Satan's world. Oh yeah. I forgot about Nick Cannon. I think Nick Cannon just agreed that the Jewish people were, I can't remember exactly, but he said the Jewish people, the Shemitic people were black people. That's all he said, which is true. It's true. When you look up in the dictionary, Shemitic people were Egyptians, Hebrews, and a couple other groups. It's not. It's not really big by definition, by English definition. It's not big. So he wasn't lying, but you just can't. It's just certain things you can't talk about and you can't say, and you realize that even our entertainers have a muzzle over their mouth. Let me drop this. And now I want to get to this video.
Is a major surgery for any woman having to deliver a baby. And a new report shows doctors are giving black women the procedure whether it's needed or not. This is all according to a new study in New Jersey. More black women were reported being sent to have that surgery because of the financial incentives that come with busy operating rooms. This has come under heavy scrutiny since C-sections can put even the healthiest woman under high risk for serious medical complications. Joining us tonight to talk about this, mother and registered nurse Tequila Russell, board-certified OBGYN Dr. Tamika Cross, and mother Millie Rucker. Glad to have
and so when I was pregnant with my 5-year-old son, they were trying to force me to have a C-section, and I began advocating for myself, like, no, y'all basically are trying
What reason did they say you needed to have a C-section?
They were basically rushing me, saying that my son wasn't turning like he needed to. I wasn't dilating in the amount of time that I guess they needed me to. And so I told them I would literally get up and walk out and go home and have my child if they tried to force me to do that. And a few hours later, I had a healthy, almost 10-pound baby naturally. And after that, I vowed to myself that I would never have another child at the hospital. And I gave birth in 2022 to a baby girl, and I had her naturally with a water birth at a birthing center.
From a black woman perspective, we are not, they figure we don't have advocates, they figure we don't have the literacy, and we won't speak up for ourselves. You know, we won't be heard. That's always been the case from a black woman perspective. So who else to push to fill those numbers and get that revenue in versus black women?
Have you ever seen anything that made you like, this is...
Now, that sister that was just speaking, the second sister, she is a nurse of 12 years, and she was explaining that, you know, out of all women, why not push black women to get these C-sections? Because during COVID, what happened was nobody was in the operating room. Because nobody's in the operating room, the hospitals were losing money. And of course, hospitals have to pay the employees. Well, the medical field is about making money. Hospitals are about making money. Y'all know that. We all know that. Well, this sister was explaining that to get people put in, she was an ER nurse, and to get people in those operating tables, yes, they would push for that. And who more to do that to than black women out of all women, is to have them have C-sections when they actually don't have to have a C-section.
Is so wrong.
Oh, of course.
What I'm seeing in this hospital or in this doctor's office when it comes to black women.
Of course. I did feel pressured to have C-sections. I've had 3 C-sections and 2 VBACs, which is vaginal birth at the cesarean section, which I had to force an advocate for, to the point where my OBGYN was irate with me and made me sign a waiver before I left her office, demanding that I not have a vaginal birth. But my first one was failure of progress. You know, like you asked her what was the reason given. It was a long labor, but honestly, my failure was to progress was partially because they gave me too much medication. I couldn't feel my legs to push or anything. The person who was giving me my anesthesia, I don't know if they didn't get my weight right or whatever, but I was completely numb. That's not fair for a birthing mom to not be able to feel her birthing process.
Y'all hear that? Now, this is a story that shocked me because I don't know a lot about C-sections. I always looked at C-sections like they were done because it had to be done, or it was a part of birth. But I never questioned it. As I started to learn more history, I started to learn ancient history, and I started to see how women had births, particularly like Hebrew women and Egyptian women, like how a woman would give birth on the stools, natural births. I started to wonder, why is it that that is not something that's a norm? And once again, that needs to be studied. But what you hear these sisters say is that they were pressed to have a C-section. The one sister, she had C-sections with some of her children. The first probably 3 children, then her last 2, she insisted on having a natural birth, and she had a natural birth without any complications. The second sister, who was a nurse, also had her last 2 births as a natural birth. The fact that they're making, if a woman, if sisters were to have C-sections, it makes them more money. The fact that this is happening just shows you that our people are considered less than. But I'm going to show you that this is a historical fact where our people in the medical field, under the guise of being cared for, have always been looked at as people who they can do experiments on. They don't have to really pay attention to. Our pain isn't as bad as other people's pain. And y'all probably would agree that when Black women, who are 4 more times likely to die during pregnancy than other women, when they go to the hospital and you have a physician that is a white physician or an East Indian physician or an Asian physician, they probably are not actually hearing our sisters like they would hear other groups. They probably don't think that our sisters' concerns are as important as other groups. I'm not going to say think, because we know that there is malpractice documented when it comes to Black folks, Black women, just Black people in general. Okay. And I'm going to get into this book. Let me read this comment. Somebody gave me a comment. L. Jackson, Medical Apartheid. The book speaks to what you are talking about. That's funny you brought that up, L. Jackson, because look what I got here. Glad you brought that up. L. Jackson, are you sure? Let me look around. I ain't got no cameras in here. Somebody spying on me. This is the book called Medical Apartheid, right? The Dark History of Medical Experimentation on Black Americans from Colonial Times to the Present by Harriet A. Washington. Oh, you reading it now? Okay. That's right. You see, we on the same page. So I was going to just read some excerpts, right? And I was going to say this. It's funny that you're reading this, because I was going to say that if somebody was to go look at the book, you're going to see that I didn't just read straight through. So don't come at me crazy talking about, nah, that's not what it say. So I'm just going to, I have some areas highlighted that I wanted to bring out. And so L. Jackson to know exactly where I'm at. So I'm going to be reading from, let's see, I'm going to read this little part story with the sister, the 17-year-old and Narca, on page 63, right? So I want y'all to just pay attention, and then I'll give a little bit of commentary afterwards. I'm going to read a little bit. It says, let me see. I got to get comfortable. Let me move this. Now it says, but these were mere prelude. On a June day in 1845, 17-year-old Ann Archer, a slave on the Westcott plantation just outside Montgomery, Alabama, felt the contractions that heralded the birth of her first child. 3 days later, the exhausted, terrified girl, still rife in excruciating labor, Sims was called in and used obstetrical forceps, which with which he admitted he had little experience. The child died, and although Anarcha seemed out of immediate danger, she soon faced another horrible trial. Her torn vagina began eroding, and she was left with openings between the remains of her vagina and her bladder and rectum. She was now incontinent, and the incessantly flowing urine inflamed her ravaged tissues, triggering pain, recurrent infections, and odor. Now, he went in and operated on this 17-year-old, killed the baby, and then after, the sister was torn in her insides, and that became inflamed. And this is horrible. Her vagina eroded, and it had her urine was, touching those tissues and inflaming it and burning it, and she went through that. Now, let me see. I want to read a little bit more. Now, this is from a doctor. I want to go into him, but this is the man they consider the father of gynecology. His name was James Marion Sims. And I think in 2018, they took down his statue in New York, right? Because he would do surgeries on Black women, slave women, these type of surgeries without anesthesia. And it just showed you how much of a devil he was. You understand? So let me get a little bit more. It's so much in here to cover. I'm gonna read this. I'm on page 62, bottom paragraph. It says, as a plantation doctor, Sims attended many children, but he used only the Black infants as subjects for dangerous experiments in tetany, a long misunderstood children's neuromuscular disease characterized by convulsions and muscle spasms. The tetany that was epidemic among enslaved children was actually the result of severe calcium, magnesium, and vitamin D deficiency caused by chronic malnutrition. So the tetany that he was trying to cure, what he thought it was wrong, he thought he knew the problem, but the problem really was just from being slave children being malnutritioned, not getting enough food. But Sims was erroneously convinced that it was caused by the displacement of skull bones during birth. So he thought because it was a displacement of skull bones that caused this disease, this neuromuscular disease. It says he took a sick Black baby from its mother, made incisions in its scalp, then welded a cobbler's tool. A cobbler's tool is a tool used. A cobbler is somebody that makes shoes. He says, then welded a cobbler's tool to pry the skull bones into new positions. During this time, this is him speaking. During this time, I would occasionally puncture the scalp over the lambdoidal suture with the point of a crooked awl, and prise out the edges of the parietal bones always, with the effect of greatly modifying the rigid fleur of the extremities. Sims' attempt to open the skull was based upon a scientific myth that the bones of Black infant skulls, unlike white infant skulls, grew together quickly, leaving the brain no space to grow and develop. This premature closing of the Black skull was held to cause low intelligence and perpetual childishness in adult Blacks. When the infants died, Sims castigated the sloth and ignorance of their mothers and the Black midwives who attended them. So when these children who he messed with their skulls when he didn't have to, when they died, he would blame it on the slave mothers and the midwives that helped deliver them. Let me show you some more about this devil. It says, this is getting back to this procedure that he would, that he did with the 17-year-old. It says Sims acquired a total of 11 women slaves with vesicovaginal fistula from their masters by promising to lodge, board, and treat them. And he built a Spartan wooden building where he conducted surgical experiments on them for the next 4 years. He made the women undress completely, then kneel on hands and knees while he and several physicians took turns inserting a special speculum he had devised to open the women's vaginas fully to view. He is quoted as saying, "I saw everything as no man had seen before," marveled Sims. Montgomery physicians flocked to Sims' shack to see what no man had seen before. So did prominent citizens and local apprentices. The surgeries themselves were terribly painful. Not only had Sims too close the unnatural openings in the ravaged vaginal tissues, he had to make the edges of these openings knit together. He opted to abrade or scarify the edges of the vaginal tears every time he attempted to repair an opening. He then closed them with sutures and saw them become infected and reopened painfully every time. Several male doctors had initially assisted Sims by holding down the enslaved women as he made incisions, but within a year, they could hear neither the bone-chilling shrieks of the women nor the lack of progress any longer. I'm gonna just stop right there. Oh, wait, there's more. There's some more. This is where I really want to get to. I'm sorry, y'all. He says, medical journals and professional word of mouth had detailed that inhalation of ether as an anesthesia since the early 1840s. And Sims knew of this, but he flatly refused to administer anesthesia to the slave women and girls. He claimed that his procedures were not painful enough to justify the trouble and risk attending the administration. But his claim rings hollow when one learns that Sims always administered anesthesia when he performed the perfected surgery to repair the vaginas of white women in Montgomery a few years later. Sims also cited the popular belief that blacks did not feel pain in the same way as whites. Isn't that terrifying? Isn't that amazing? And I'm not saying amazing in a good way. Isn't that terrifying, y'all? What our sisters went through, what our foremothers went through up under this devil, this man. That goes back to the story we just read about black women, because the hospital wants to make more money by putting more people in the operation room. Black women are encouraged and sometimes forced to get a C-section. Why? Because they look at it as though our bodies don't matter. They didn't matter back then. Many black people went through horrible things just in the name of science, in the name of medicine, while students watched without any anesthesia. And that should make you think. Now, with everything we just said, will I tell you to not go to the doctor? No, I wouldn't tell you that. There's so many things that go on with me, and I just be thinking in my head like, oh, what's wrong? What's this? But, I can't go on Google and try to figure out what's wrong with me. I have to go to the doctor to find out. So I would never tell a black person not to go to a doctor. But I will say this. Man, I would love to be able to go to a place where there are people that look like me, think like me, and care about me how they care about themselves. I would love to go to a hospital like that and be up under the care of a male or woman or a sister doctor. You know what I mean? And it will give me that sense of ease. And it would be so comfortable to be up under somebody that you know really does care for you because they are you. You know, it's just it's messed up, y'all. It's messed up. It's messed up. It's sad. And you know, I just wonder now. I wonder how many sisters that I know, how many people have had to have a C-section when they didn't even have to have a C-section. You know, how many Black people have had to have a surgery or had to go through a procedure when they didn't have to do it. They just wanted to do it because they wanted to show the medical students something. That's in this book. That's what they're talking about. They want to get a good review in a medical journal so that it will bolster their reputation in the medical world. They say, I'm going to go ahead and do this surgery. And they choose you to do the surgery on. And they say, you know what? You don't actually need the surgery, but I insist that you do the surgery. I insist. Meanwhile, they're just trying to bolster their reputation and get their experience. And while you knocked out sleep, is about 20 students in there that's watching and learning while they're teaching. But you didn't even need the procedure, though. This was happening to our foremothers and forefathers back then, and they wasn't even getting any anesthesia. They would have to sit through the pain and cry and scream through the pain being held down and strapped down. Anyway, y'all, that's all I got for today. I think I might try to do something Wednesday. If y'all, if y'all rocking with me Wednesday, I'll try to go live Wednesday. I don't have a Black Authentic Truth story, but that is some Black Authentic Truth history, though. It's some cold history. You can't never forget. Can't never forget. Another thing is I did a video. Let me see. I did a video probably like a week ago. Let me look real quick. What video was it? Give me 1 second. Okay, so I did that video when the principal got her eye knocked out by a young brother, right? Somebody came in the comments and said, all races, baby, not just yours. I don't understand y'all. I don't understand these people sometimes. The channel is called Black Authentic Truth. How do you come on a channel called Black Authentic Truth and you think I'm supposed to be making video, or I'm talking to everybody on a video where I'm talking about Black people? Like, these people can't stay out of nobody's business. They have to involve themselves in everybody's business. Literally. Like, I just wanted to speak. I just wanted to speak to that real quick and just talk about it. Like, like, it's crazy. I laughed at it, but I'm like, you can't even speak about nothing Black. You can't say, I love Black women. You can't say, I got Black this, nothing. What about all races? If you don't get up off of my damn page, go see if they got a page that say White Authentic Truth or something. Like, come on, like, there's so many places you could go and be. Don't try to convince me to love everybody when I've been taught my whole life to hate my people. And now that I love my people, you got a problem with it? Man, you better kick rocks before I kick fire at you. Hey, I'm just kidding, y'all. I'm not serious, though. But y'all Y'all feel what I'm saying, though. Y'all feel me? Hey, thank you, Black Rain. Appreciate that. Always rocking with me. You're welcome. L. Jackson, thank you. Enjoyed the live. Be safe out there. Yes, you too. Also, you too. You know, y'all have a, but I always have to include. Oh, yeah, we got to include everybody. We got to include everybody. I guess we got to, like, if they ever had, I did that video. Remember that I did that video where the community, they were going to get reparations, like 50 or 25,000 per person, and in a group of 6 white residents, you know, they're fighting it in court. Like, if it was anything, I don't care anything, even if we deserve it. Like, if they're going to give reparations, it'll be some people say, listen, what about us? Why can't we get it too? You know, why I got to just be for black people? Why is just black? You know, it's like that, though. It's like that. We got to include everybody, man. But listen, man, shout out to everybody that was rocking with me. I'm going to get at it. Let me see. Let me go up and make sure I get everybody. I'm going to give everybody a shout out for rocking with me, support me, you know, keeping it black and authentic like we all should do. Renee Gaines, shout out to you. Sister Baratha Nawa, shout out to you. Karl Maz Boff, Yolanda Washington, shout out to you. Tyrell, always rocking with me, shout out to you. Let me see. Karl Maz, I already said Karl Maz. Let me see. RJ, shout out to you. You rock with me too. You know what I'm saying? Brilliance Wins, always rocking with me. Shout out to you. Black Rain 303, my main man, always rocking with me. Shout out to you. L. Jackson, shout out to you. Yeah. Hey, man, shout out to all of y'all, man. Y'all be safe out here, man. Until next time I see y'all, man. Peace. Shalom. I'm going to play a little something.